The Sig P320 finally has failed. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Trench Grenade channel. I am your host, the average failure point number one of the Sig P320 during my testing video series enjoyer that your mom says that we have at home. Thanks for watching. Guys, the purpose of today's video is we are going to be discussing the first failure that I have discovered on the Sig M18/P320. Now, a lot of you guys are going to be in the comment section of this video saying that's not a failure. It is, and I'm going to explain why this is a major failure. I'm going to give you a little bit of background as to why what we're about to discuss is a major failure. Before I do, hit the like button, comment down below your thoughts on the Sig P320 failure point number one, and that is the magazines, okay? And a lot of guys are gonna be like, this isn't even part of the discussion. It's gonna be when I show you the 400 Glock magazines and all the other magazines that I test here on the channel. So let's just get right into it. I shoot a lot. I shoot more than the average guy, and I see rifles and handguns shot a lot more than the average guy. I train people professionally. I'm a drill sergeant leader. I see thousands, I think 64,000 rounds fired every 9 weeks, I think is our give or take, right? 64,000 rounds every 9 weeks. And through that, my private testing, I also test an extensive amount of handguns. I test Berettas, M9s on the channel, Staccatos, I test Glocks, Shadow Systems, RXM, the Ruger RXM, I test rifles, AKs, what else? All kinds of magazines, right? I test tons of magazines on the channel, and I have had very, very few, if any, magazines break ever. As you guys know, I carry a Glock, and I am going to show you, before I show you the failed magazine from Sig that are overpriced, by the way, I am going to show you how many Glock mags I have used to test these burn downs, okay? This is an entire Glock range bag full of magazines. I'm just going to show you real quick, okay? So in this bag, you know, it would take forever. I'll just unload so you guys see. Here's a handful, okay? Here's a handful. I could do this for 10 minutes, right? This bag is completely full, okay? Completely full of magazines, like exclusively, to the point that this bag is exclusively magazines for Glock, both Magpul, ETS mags, mostly doggone Glock OEM magazines. As you guys see, we can keep going here. Why am I showing you this bag of magazines? Well, there's a reason. There's a reason I'm showing you how many magazines I test just for the burn downs alone. I test a lot of Glock mags. And guess what we've never had? Nighthawk, what have we never had with a Glock mag? We've never had a failure with the Glock mags, or even these things, these crappy Magpul, what are these things? The GL9 or whatever, the crappy Magpul magazines. Guess what we've never had? We've never had any failures, right? We've never had no broken base pads. We've never had anything fly off of the magazines, right? The only issue I've ever had with a magazine on the channel has been this Shield Arms, okay? The Shield Arms Glock 43 magazines, right? Again, whole entire bag, okay, Glock bag full of Glock magazines. But the only issue I've ever had on the channel with any magazine has been the Shield Arms Glock 43X and Glock 48 magazines. The initial Gen 1 and Gen 2s of those are trash. I do not recommend them. So, and there's more, right? There's more Glock mags out here. Obviously, I have more mags over there, more mags on my I test a lot of magazines, okay? I go through a lot of magazines. I test a lot of different magazines. I do not clean them, don't do anything. This thing, at around the 6,000 round mark, right? Just shy of the 6,000 round mark, this better focus or I'm gonna lose my mind, has cracked and broken. Okay, now for you sitting at home, I can already hear guys yelling, Trench, that is a sample size of one. If your one magazine has cracked and broken, who cares? Here's the problem. The only good part that I said about the Sig M18 was this right here, the 21 round OEM magazines. If we're getting issues at the 6,000 round mark already with random magazines, right? And I'll show you this. It's not going to focus for whatever reason. But if we're already getting issues with these magazines at the 6,000 round mark in testing, that defeats the one thing that I said was good with this gun, right? Was the magazine. So why am I wasting time telling you guys this? It's just to document it, right? It's not to draw up any hate or anything like that. It's just to document my experiences. I've been testing the Sig P320. I was going to carry it to the gym. That's why we got the shaker cup with the pre-workout about to get going. Okay, boom, to the haters, right? But all of this to say, it is a sample size of one magazine that failed, right? However, it should not be cracking. And you guys can see, this is going to drive me insane. I'm going to wait till this thing focuses. There we go. You guys can see this thing is cracked right down the center for no apparent reason. I treat all my magazines and all testing the exact same way. Okay, so for this $65 magazine, it's cracked in two places, you can see there. For this $65 magazine to just crack down the center is... Everyone's going to be like, who cares? It's a sample size of one. But when the only strong point of your gun design is the magazine, and now the magazines are failing, and that's the only thing that I praise, I now have issues with the gun, right? I have never had issues with a Glock OEM magazine. I shoot them a ton. I bought a ton of these things. These trashy, I'll just grab a handful of them. These crappy Magpul Glock mags, okay? I purchased a ton of these things for you guys to test them because I used to have issues before I started YouTube on the Glock GL9s or Magpul GL9s. Even with these, we haven't had issues in an austere environment, right? Which is crazy because we used to have all kinds of issues with the Magpul magazines. So, I say all that to say this. This is going to be controversial, but I don't care. My ETS, I've had this magazine, this ETS magazine. You guys see how disgusting this nasty, cheapo. This would be like the Uncle Mike's of Glock mags, right? This is like the trashiest mag possible. I've never cleaned it. You can see the internals. It's not really see-through anymore. This thing now has literally out-survived Sig, okay? And everyone's going to be like, sample size of one? Well, not really, because I bought 15 or so Sig magazines, and I bought hundreds and hundreds of Glock mags, right? And I've had, and that's sample size of one or anecdotal argument, I've had a failure already with my Sig magazines, okay? So let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. Is the Sig P320 hate warranted or is it not? I don't know, man. You can ask Nighthawk right here. When I saw that magazine yesterday when I was dry firing and I looked and I was like, what the heck? That should not be happening, right? That should not be happening. Nighthawk, how many Glock magazines have we loaded for these burn downs?
I have lost count.
She said, I don't know if you guys could hear her. Hundreds, she says. We'll burn down these things, right? Out at the range. We'll go back to the shooting bench. We'll load up 20 more. Like each of us will load up like 8 to 10, right? Around 20 more, and we'll go out and keep shooting. And through that time, we have never had any issues with Glock OEM, with the AK, any of the AK mags, even the cheapo Magpul AK mags. I'm just going through all the lists, right? So the point is, the fact that we have a random Sig magazine cracking, where'd it go? I don't know where it went. Okay, the fact that we have a random Sig magazine, where did I put it, guys? Here it is. The fact that we have a random mag breaking is concerning, okay? That's what I'll say. All right, guys, if you got this far in the video, hit the like button, comment down below all your thoughts. I'm going to get a pump in. I'll edit this up, get it uploaded for you guys. But thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Let me know your thoughts on the Sig P320. And until next time, this is going to be Trench Grenade, your average. Why the heck are my magazines breaking so early on in testing hater that your mom said that we have at home? Signing out.